Obviously, another big week, Pac-12 contest against Utah, and they've been playing very well. They're 6-2, 4-2 in the conference. On a 4-game winning streak, have been scoring about an average of 41 points a game, which is very impressive. Got a senior-laden defense with a lot of experience over there. Don't give up a lot of points. They average about 16 points a game. So they've done a nice job up there. Coach has really done a fantastic job with this football team. They're big, physical up front, especially with the defensive line. Secondary is pretty active. We'll play a lot of man coverage. Have some pretty good corners. Offense, obviously, quarterback is playing well. Very athletic. Have a back that it's really a downhill back. He comes downhill. He's not going to dodge you. He's going to run you over, and you better tackle him. They do a lot of speed option. They run the power, run zone schemes, but they run the football. They run with a purpose. A very physical football team, and they're leading the conference right now. They're 4-2 and 6-2 overall, so they have one of the better records in the Pac-12 overall record. As I said, big physical football team. Reminds me a lot of the Stanford team as well as Michigan State. It's just big, powerful football team. Very well coached. Questions?
Coach Baldridge from the Sports Cape.
Yeah.
Two questions for you, actually.
Sure.
One, can you talk a little bit about the way you felt, the way the team closed out that fourth quarter with running the ball and the offensive line? And then two, talk about that big win. Obviously, every win on the road is big, but that's the one you guys got.
Well, I think it's one that kind of was similar to Michigan State. When you think about it, we've won 2 games by 3 points. We've lost 4 by 7. And we had 2 where we had substantial leads where we didn't have to worry about the final outcome. Didn't really turn out like we like, obviously, as far as what happened there in the last, 2 minutes of the game, feeling that when we came to the sideline, I told the offense, it was real simple. I said, you got to make the first down, close the game out, and just end it. And lo and behold, maybe I should have told him, too, after you close it out, Manny, don't run for a touchdown. But I couldn't get that in. I mean, I didn't ever imagine that 45 yards away, the quarterback's going to run for a touchdown. But they brought a casino blitz. They brought everybody. And Manny just took, ran the option over there and took the ball out and was free running. And I think he realized when he probably was at the 5, but it was too late then. It was momentum was going in. I go, oh, boy, this ain't over. You just know it. It's not over. It's not good. And it wasn't. And we were able to win at the end, though, which was fun for the kids. It was really nice to watch them enjoy a win, especially beating a team like that had won, I think, 19 in a row in that stadium. That's an impressive win for these guys because it started out, obviously, we got some points on the board early, but going in at halftime, I had no delusions of grandeur. I said, this game not over. These guys got too many good players, and they'll make some plays, and they were able to make some plays, and have to give them credit. We can also say that we played some balls the wrong way, and but you got to give them credit. It's a good game to watch if you were a fan, football fan. It was an exciting game. So.
Howard Rabino, Devil's Digest. I know in the days leading to the game, you wanted the offense to sustain drives. They had a 95-yard scoring drive. You wanted the ball more in Eno's hands, more in Nikhil's hands. That actually happened too. Even though the 2 halves were polar opposites when it comes to the offense, is any sense of satisfaction that that game plan was set and executed on Saturday?
Yes, we had a nice plan. Give coaches a lot of credit. Moving Nikhil inside a little bit. I felt that would help us some. To get him the ball inside, get the matchups we wanted. Felt like, we had to run the ball going on the road. You have to run the ball. You can't let those guys tee off and come after the quarterback. We needed to protect our quarterback, which I thought was marvelous. The first time they brought a casino blitz was great pass protection. I mean, it was as good as you can get. And hitting the keel with the big play. And then we ran the ball. We ran the ball 44 times. And that's a good number for us when you get up. Now, when I get into that, fans are thinking, we don't want to throw it. No, we're trying to win. And that was the best way to go about our business. And once you get the run game going, you feel like it's much more easier to throw the football. And so for us, we made some plays, and then they got some athletes too. They made their share of plays. And it boiled down to, at the end there, us holding on, but it was a good win for us.
Coach Tim Ring, CBS.
Sure.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Nikhil's performance, Special Teams Player of the Week. And
Sports Center player #1, yeah.
And let me ask the question in this way: given the opponent and the nice afternoon kick time, do you think the entire country knows who Nikhil Harry is now?
Well, as long as we keep playing on ESPN, everybody's going to know who he is. I mean, that's we got an ASU guy that works for him too, so that helps. I mean, but yeah, I think people. I don't know if maybe the East Coast people don't know, but I think anybody that watches football pays attention to it. They know how good he is, and he had a big day, and he needed to have a big day. When he's playing well and Eno's playing well, and our offensive line is blocking, and Manny has time, our offense can be productive. It can be. We have some explosive players. Look, Frank. I mean, all of a sudden Manny's out, and Frank gets a nice long ball, and he drops it. And he generally doesn't drop those. He's one of the better long ball catchers. I mean, you can imagine if he catch that one, I think he was 1 or 2 in the country leading as far as reception yards per reception, and he drops it. But we have some players that can make some plays, but it all starts with the protection and us running the football. When we can do that, then things open up for us in the passing game.
Coach
Yes, ma'am.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. A couple questions. One, how important was this win for your guys going into the Utah game? They're probably playing the best of any team in the Pac-12. How important was it for your guys to get this win and get some confidence going into a game against the team that's playing very well?
Yeah, well, I think anytime you've lost the way we have lost games, I mean, it's easy to reflect on those things, and when it gets tight, thinking, uh-oh, here we go again, and that was not the case. And anytime you can beat USC there, it's always good. It helps your program too. Let's don't kid around. And when you beat USC in Los Angeles, college football is about one thing: recruiting. And you recruit year round, and we're looking at 2020s already, and so is everybody else. So when you have that many young athletes that are there because it's their home game, and that's what happens at our home games, you have potential candidates that you're recruiting, and both teams recruit the same guys. Everybody's going for the good players. When you win a game like that, it helps you. There's no doubt about it.
Coach Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. How does the team react watching film when they see one of those big plays from Nikhil?
They expect it. I mean, it's like, okay, there's one. One does it again, and big players and big-time players, and I've just learned this in my history of being around football at all levels. They like playing in big games. They do. They love the stage. They just love it. They eat it up, and you have to make sure that you put them in position where they can get some matchups that you like, and then give it to them. Now, the punt return is a punt return. That's just, there's a couple of really good blocks as well. We can't lose sight of that, but that's one of those deals with Nikhil, and I keep telling him now, Nikhil, when it goes over your head, that means you shouldn't field that ball. That one, actually, he felt, when he caught it, he was okay. He didn't back up. He kind of 2 steps back, that's okay. But the one when he goes 5 and 6 steps back and you're catching it on the one, it's like, hey, you don't want to do that one. But that's Nikhil. And, he's special with the ball in his hand. He's a tough out, he's tough to bring down, and he's competitive. And that's what I love about the kid. I mean, he's one of the more competitive players I've ever been around at any level. He loves competing. When the game starts, he's all in now. He wants to compete. And this was a game last year that was marred with a lot of fouls. And he got into it a couple times. And I made sure I would talk to him after every series. I said, don't start. I'm going to pull you out if you start. And he's, Coach, I'm going to be good. I said, just be good. And just, keep your composure, because that's what they want to do. And, the punt return was one of the plays. Obviously the one-hand catch was fabulous. The one he came across the middle, it was a contested throw, made a good catch, but that's Nikhil. You kind of expect it, We just got to find ways to get him the ball, and a lot of times he's being doubled. People are doubling him, so moving him in the slot, I thought, helped him some. And the touchdown was beautiful. Manny threw a great ball, and the blocking was fantastic.
Coach Bobby Kraus, Cronkite Sports.
Yes, sir.
What does it say about the resolve of this team to bounce back from a tough couple of weeks and to still have something to fight for in these last 4 weeks with the South seemingly wide open?
Well, I think that that's what I love about them, to be quite honest, that they continue to compete. And our slogan is real simple: leave it on the grass. Just leave your effort on the grass, and you never have to worry about when you walk in the locker room what the score is. If it didn't go your way, you left everything you can on the grass, and that's all I ask of players. Just whatever you got, you leave it on that. You leave it right there on that grass, and it all takes care of itself. And you can live with yourself, and you can live with your teammates, because this game is about your team, and it's about guys watching the film after the game. And you know, I've always said that your biggest critics are the guys you play with, and they know. They know if you gave effort, and you know, you try to build a team that runs itself. The teams that I've been affiliated with that have won a lot, you didn't want to let your teammates down, and you didn't want to put it on tape that you let them down. And when you can build something like that, you got something special, and we're going to try to do that. That's kind of important. Everywhere I've been, teams I've played on, teams I've coached, it was about the players. And when you watch the tape, you didn't want to be embarrassed. You didn't want to let the guys to the left and to the right of you down when you watch the tape. But with your effort, you're going to get beat sometimes. You're going to make mistakes sometimes. That's okay. But effort doesn't take talent to have effort. It just takes a big heart. And they've played that way, and I'm proud of them for doing that. That's important.
Chris Gleason, WCSN. Coach, one of the consistent parts of this season, Merwin Robertson, Darian Butler, freshman players like that making big plays. How much do you think it helps lay the foundation for your team when you see freshman players having an impact week to week?
Well, it's important, and when we recruited those guys, along with Lole and Rashari, now Rashari gets maybe not as much credit because he plays in the back end, you know, and he's had his he's dropped 2 interceptions that he should have had by now, but if he has those 2, you guys are talking about him too. When you're trying to build a program, you never imagine that you have 4 freshmen that are going to play a lot. 3 of them are starters. It's a credit to them, credit to their coaches, them being good enough to play. It's hard for freshmen to come in and play. These guys are talented, but they like ball. They are all in. They're like my sons. I talk to them every day, and I told them, I said, this is going to be your football team. You're setting the foundation of this now, and you got to understand it. And they understand how hard it is, and they make some mistakes. But the effort and just liking ball, just studying ball on their computer, just doing it when they're not in this office, in this building, the questions they ask, they want to get better, and it helps you when you recruit. The kids see those freshmen playing, they say they actually coach said they can play. If they're the best player, they're going to play. I said that when I took this job. It's competitive. You have to compete. If you don't want to compete, wrong university to come to play football. You're going to compete, and you're weighed on your performance. Because in the real world, that's how life works. And if we're going to teach life skills that come from playing football, they all apply. You got to learn that. You got to come to work every day, and you're a student athlete, got to make sure you handle that part. When you come and you put yourself on the grass, you got to go compete. They know it. They flat know it, and if you don't do it, you'll stand on the sideline with me and watch. And that's how it works here, and they know it, and I think they're buying into it. And I think the more young guys that play for us and people watch us play, they're going to go, Coach will give you a shot. He'll give you a shot. If you're a good player, he's going to let you play. And that's how it's going to work around here.
Hi, Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. You mentioned moving Nikhil around. Just generally, how would you evaluate Rob Likens and how it's working in terms of his play calling and just what he's doing with the offense?
You're not trying to get me into that Hugh Jackson situation, are you? Hugh's a good friend, by the way. That's terrible what they did to that man. It is. It's not right, but just whatever. I'm a college coach now. Rob is like anything else. He's like any coordinator. He was a wide receiver coach here last year. Now he knows the players some, but it's easy to call the plays when you're playing PlayStation. But when walk out in the yard, and you're the play caller, and you sit up there, and when it doesn't work, the fans go, well, was it a bad play? Well, there's a lot that goes into the play. We actually practice plays that work. We really do. We go to work every day, and we practice plays we think is going to work. And sometimes the teams just beat you. They defend the play. Or sometimes, and we'll never do this, because this is what coaches do not do, and I won't tolerate a coach ever to do this, you don't blame the player for not doing it right. You ever seen a coach do that in a press conference, by the way? They don't do that. You sit there and you take the blame as the coach. Now, when you get in the meeting room, you tell the players, hey, look, we got to execute this better, we got to execute that better. We've said players have made mistakes. Have we ever named one? And we won't. That's not our job. Our job is to fix it. And that goes along with team. It goes along with your ability as a coach to understand that we have to fix the player. And is it too complicated? That's the first question you ask. Are we putting the player in a position where he can succeed, or are we putting him in a position where he's going to fail? Well, we got to figure that out. Now, with that being said, it's part of the player's responsibility to understand what he needs to do. And sometimes they forget. And sometimes they go the wrong way. We say left, they go right. Okay. We never say that. We just say, it's on us. And that's how it works. So I just think that's the respect that the coach and player have to have for each other. And that's how it works in sports. And it always works that way. So, as much as we want to say, is it the play caller, is it design of the play, is it this, is it that? We could get into all that, but it's about execution. And sometimes, hey, you call the wrong play at the wrong time and they defend it. And sometimes they're better than you on that play. And then sometimes you actually put them in a bad situation. And I've had our coaches, Danny, special teams coach, Coach Likens, after the series say, Coach, I put him in a bad spot. I said, that's okay. I've always told the players this. When a coach puts you in a bad spot, bail him out. Go make a play. Just go make a play. Yeah, we could have put you in a better defense. We get that. We could have made a better call. We get that. But this is the call. And what you can't do as a player, you can't leave the huddle thinking this is not going to work. Because then we're all messed up. You just got to go play the play and let everybody do what they do, and, it works out. So that's kind of where I'm at with all that stuff. I've been doing this too long, I guess, but that's just me. I learned that when I was a player and from Dick Vermeil, and you just learn stuff and you go, okay, that's a good football coach there, because he gets it. And, when you've done it as long as I've done it, you just take it for what it's worth. That PlayStation makes everybody a play caller. It's great.
Herm, you had a couple guys go down Saturday, DJ Davis and Jalen Harvey. Is there any update with those guys?
Davison's, he's probably going to be done for this year. Harvey, we don't know. He's got a chance to come back this week. But DJ, that's a big blow too. He was playing well, Yeah, the good part is he's got some football left, and but we're gonna miss him. That was a tough one. So we got to shuffle some guys around a little bit, but we're okay. That's where your depth comes in. You got to have depth. We have some guys, we'll move some guys around, and you never know. We might have another freshman show up this week. You never know, because that's all we got. We don't have anybody else. They get to play 4 games, so we're okay.
Coach Colette Stein, Cronkite News. You just recently were interviewed by a former colleague and friend from ESPN, Dave Stevens.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on all he's accomplished and the adversity that he's overcome?
Dave is a fabulous man, and spent a lot of time there at the Worldwide Leader with him. I can remember going in and meeting him when I first took the job, and he's a talented person, and when you think about sometimes things that happen in your life, you can use those as a way to feel sorry for yourself. He's never done that. He's always been in the lead, positive guy, and I was glad I got to see him again, to be quite honest. It's kind of fun when you see people that have touched your life in a certain way, and he was always positive. When I first took that job, he's one of the first guys I met. And he was always positive, energetic kind of guy, and told him anytime he needed me, I'll be here for him. So it was good to see him. Thanks for asking that question.
Herm, Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. You mentioned earlier the similarities that you see with Utah to Stanford and Michigan State. So What lessons do you take from those games earlier in the year?
Well, I take this. You better be physical. And it starts at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Defensively, we have to tackle well. We're going to have to really tackle really well because they make you tackle with the back end of your defense. Your corners are going to have to tackle. The safeties, they always have to tackle. They put stress on your corners because the way they block it up. They're always going to have one guy free, and anyone wants to run the football, whether it be with the quarterback too. Now the quarterback stresses you out as well because now all of a sudden you got to get that safety out of the middle because if they run the option, he's the guy that's got to run the alley. But the runner, when you get 8 guys in the box, the 8th guy is the runner's guy, and they like the 8th guy to be the corner to tackle a big, strong running back. And if you're not a willing tackler, it's going to show up. And so those are the things that we have to prepare for, and it's important. And offensively, we have to beat press coverage, and they bring some pressure. They bring 5-6 man pressure at time. Every once in a while, they throw all the cards on the table and casino you. They bring 7 guys, and you got to get rid of the ball, and you got to beat man coverage. So they're a sound football team. They really are.
Jack and then Tim.
Coach Jack Harris, Sun Devil Source. You guys have been up and down in short yardage situations this year, but against USC, I'm pretty sure you converted all of your 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s. What did you see in that part of the game, and how do converting those plays kind of impact the flow in your offense?
Well, obviously, it gives you confidence. And it makes me relax, too, because then I'm sitting there as a 4th and 1, right? And everybody's saying, go, and you got to make the calls, depending on where the ball's at on the field and the game and situation. And I kind of like, when it gets to 4th down, because I kind of know what I'm going to do before it happens. We kind of have a plan going into it as the field is being, changed offensively. There's certain situations that Coach Likens knows that, hey, I'll tell him on the phone, look, we're in go territory. And he knows that means, okay, if it's 4th and whatever, it's a 4th and 3 in a certain situation. He knows way ahead of time that you get into 4th and 3, so you already got an extra down to get to 4th and 3 because you get to go for it. So, but that that puts anxiety in your belly a little bit because I'm waiting. It gets to 4th and it's on me. I got to tell them either we're kicking it or we're punting it or we're going, but they know well ahead of time. But then I still can make the call if we go backwards. So it's good to see. Just think if we didn't make that 3rd and 1. That'd have been interesting. Do you punt it? Go for it on 4th and 1 there again? What do you do? Right? I know what they do on PlayStation. They go.
Coach Tim Rigg again. We're doing a little profile on Antonio Pierce. I just want to get your thoughts, really kind of a 2-part question. The job he's doing as a coach and as a mentor here, and then also the job he has in front of him as the team's recruiting coordinator. Yeah, well, he's juggling a lot of balls and doing a great job, Antonio. We go way back. We worked in the studio together. And it's kind of unique because when you work with guys, I've known him before. He was coaching, he was playing when I was coaching. And I know the history of Antonio, and I can remember there were times in studio we would talk, and then he started coaching. He started with Long Beach Poly, and I was like, coaching too now? He said, yeah, I'm coaching. And he was talking about where he's coaching now. And I said, yeah, okay. And we had discussions. I said, if I decide, I said, I'm going to call you. He says, Coach, you call me. I'll be ready to go whenever you call me. And lo and behold, it came to fruition eventually. And he was one of the first guys I called. I said, hey, he says, I'm ready when you want me. But as far as understanding these young men coming out of high school, he's well connected. And he's coached a lot of them. And he has a lot of connections in the coaching world, high school coaches. He knows the guys that handle them now, right? They all got handlers for some reason, and that's just the world we live in, whether we like it or not. He's honest, he's truthful, and the players love him because he speaks their language. When you're at Long Beach Poly, you see a lot of guys, you meet a lot of people, and AP's a people person, but if you know him, he's direct. He just tells it like it is. And he's fun to be around. He's one of the guys I always tell him we go to practice. Now, there's going to be women at practice, AP, just watch your language, just relax. Because then tell him what he's going to say now. On the sideline, he is something now. He's fired up, and he takes a lot of pride in this recruiting thing.
Because you think about the 3 guys or the 4 guys he brought in here now. They all start. I mean, that kind of sends a message. You know, and recruiting's like anything else. All coaches, they have areas and they have players they like, and we all decide as a staff, okay, these are the guys we're going after. We're going to ask them, do they want to commit and all that. But then when they come in, it's kind of like they become your guy. You know, and you want them to succeed, and we want them all to succeed. So you can imagine, this is first year coaching. He did pretty good. He's leading the pack right now, you know, as far as getting good players. And our coaches all do work hard. So but it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Yeah.
Coach,
Yes,
even
sir.
with these last 4 games, what weight do you put on bowl games? Does it change your view of the season as a whole, or is it more for the players?
No, I think obvious. It's a great way. These bowl situations are a great way to send the senior class out. I think that's important, and it's important for your university and for everybody involved, the fan base. Now, you know, the problem is now if you're not in that the national championship running, you know, all of a sudden all these other bowl games become not so important. To me, I think they're all important. A lot goes into preparing your city for a bowl game, regardless of what bowl it is. And I'm not going to mention them because then I'm going to get in trouble for not mentioning all. How many are there now? 60-something? I don't even know. There's a lot. I think what coaches like about it is you have more time to prepare your team. You get more practice dates. You know, coaches like practicing, and so that helps you. So all those things are important. But we're far from that. I mean, we got to win a lot of more games, and we got to win this one this week if we have any chance to try to do anything in this conference. And it's an important game. It's a big game, and I like those because you find out about your team. You know, the bigger the game. I think it's good to put your team in those situations because eventually you always want to be in a big game. You know, when you become a winning team and you win a lot, every game's a big game. They all become big games. I mean, Alabama has a big game every week because of the pressure that's on Alabama, right? I shouldn't mention them, but I'm going to mention them. They do. They do. Every game for them is a big game. And I think sometimes people lose sight of that because they're expected to win every week. See, that's a different anxiety. You know, and I think sometimes when you don't sit in that seat and you sit back and you're a fan or you cover the game or you watch the game, you don't realize the pressure of that. Every week they're expected to win. And there's somebody's big game. How about that? They walk into the ball yard, there's somebody's big game because everybody wants to upset those guys. You know how hard that is? But that's a program that's been built. And I think any program that has been built over time and that understands that, the players understand that mentality. And that's what we want to build here. We want all our games to become big games because we're coming to town or we're playing in our stadium. And when you win a lot of football games, that's what it looks like. That's the atmosphere that you want to be involved in week in and week out. See, it's not just you play this school. No, they play you. So we're trying to accomplish that. And hopefully one day we'll accomplish that. That'll be a lot of fun to see that.